Okay, kids, we're going to continue here. I'm going to show you something a common mistake that a lot of students make, something that doesn't work. Let's look at problem 5 here, square root of 12. A lot of times students want to say, oh, I can divide 12 up into 6 times 2, which is true, but you see 6 or 2, neither of those are perfect squares. So you can't do anything with that. That doesn't help you. That's not right. You got to break that up to 4 times 3. Square root of 4 comes out as 2, and you end up with 2 root 3. Okay, this lesson here is going to focus on variables. I'm going to give you the real short version. The bottom line is the square root undoes the square. So the square root of a squared is simply going to be a, because a times a is a squared. Square root of a squared would undo that and bring that back to a. Simply, if you have an even power and you're taking the square root of that variable, all you do is cut the power in half. Okay? Because remember, if we were to do a to the 5th times a to the 5th, if you remember from previous lessons, we would add these exponents and you would get a to the 10th. So the square root of a to the 10th just undoes that and brings it back to a to the 5th. So you just cut it in half. Okay? Now, if you have an odd power, that makes it a little bit harder, right? So what you would do with an odd power is you would change the a to the 5th to a to the 5th times a. Remember, there's an invisible 1 there. That's a mistake. Let's fix that. This would be a to the 4th times a to the 1st. Because remember, when we're multiplying, we add the exponents. 4 plus 1 would be 5. So we can break it up like that. This means the same thing as this. Now we have an even power in the front. The square root of a to the 4th is a squared. We just cut the power in half and bring it out front. What's left inside? Just that a. We don't write the 1 because it's not necessary. Okay, here, this one's a little bit more involved, but not a big deal. We're going to handle the number first. Square root of 45. What's the biggest perfect square that goes into that? 9 goes in there 5 times. This is an even power, so that's nice. So now we can do this in one more step. Square root of 9 is plain old 3. That comes out, turns that into 6 because you're multiplying. And remember, this is an even power. So we just cut that in half, bring it outside. And then what's left inside? Just the root 5. That's it. There's no a inside. You're only going to have a variable left inside if you started with an odd power. So here's the last one of the day. We have an odd power, so it's a little bit harder. We're going to break up the 40. Biggest perfect square is 4. Goes in 10 times. Change this to a to the 6th times a to the 1st. I don't really have to write that. I'm just writing it to show you. Okay, now we can do it in one more step. This is our perfect square. That comes out as 2, so that comes in front. Here we have our even power variable. Cut that in half. A to the 3rd. Okay. What was left inside? This 10 plus this a. And there you go. Sometimes students like to say, hey, we can still take something out of this 10. We can break it up to 5 and 2. That's true, but 5 and 2 are not perfect squares, so it doesn't help you. You can't do anything more with this. You are done. So go ahead and go to the homework assignment. Give that a try. You can check your answers after 3 o'clock. I'll post those solutions sometime later. Thank you.